Alright guys, welcome back to another Warframe video. In the last video, I was doing something a little different, showing you just, a little sampling of some of the stuff I do as background grind work. Didn't even scratch the surface of all the things that I constantly have going in the background. That's stuff that I don't normally show in videos. But in between that recording and today's, I've gotten quite a bit more background grinding work done. So today I'm finally going to hop back over to Mesa Prime and see if we can't start making her a bit stronger, which I haven't done Archon shards yet, but I have acquired some more mods. So I'm going to show you what I have set up. I'll first start by showing you where I have her mods themselves. I did get growing power, which should be awesome. I think I had a steel charge on there before, don't really need it on Mesa. Somebody in the comments mentioned, hey, you can move her augment mod to the Exilus slot. Awesome tip, thanks so much. I wouldn't have even thought about that. I moved that over. And then I did make some adjustments. I don't remember what I swapped in or out, but I put on this Archon Vitality. Reason being is I'm going to be using Topaz shards on her to try to focus on heat to bump crit. So we'll get into that in a minute when I get into the helmet, but that's our setup. Prime Flow, Archon Vitality, I've still got Stretch, Intensify, Transient Fortitude, just, about a halfway bumped, which is okay for where I am. Archon Continuity I have for duration, which I might consider swapping that out, throwing on a higher spec Fortitude, then that might be able to extend some more points for me to make a few other possible swaps. So since I'm primarily thinking on this build, go all in on her for the regulators, I'm not sure I necessarily need this one on anymore, but I'm going to play around with it. I think for the time being, I'm just going to jump in how I have it set up, but I could swap that out, put a higher spec Fortitude in, and then I can probably get something like fleeting expertise, and that would bump the efficiency all the way up. Now I don't have to use a maxed out one because I think I only need 40% in tandem with Boreal's Hatred, because I get the plus 15 efficiency there in tandem with Streamline. And the reason that I decided to keep this one on is just because she is a little squishy. So a little additional shield capacity I thought was just a nice quality of life. Like I said, I have a lot of ways I can go about doing this. But what I'm thinking, in fact, I'm curious, duration doesn't play into that, but it does play into, say, Shatter Shield. So that's at 33 point some odd. If I take that off, it's still 21.25. I guess that's not horrible. I might actually consider just taking that off now, throwing on the fleeting expertise. Yep, that does get it down to 3.75 on the 4, which is primarily what I was targeting. And I could, no, because it would take a bit more than that. So do I have a third Transient Fortitude I could bump up just a tick more? That's the maxed. I don't think I do. I think I only have the 2 that have dropped from the vaults so far. One that's just shy of maxed and one that's halfway. Yep, that's right. So I think that's a reasonable enough swap for me for now. I'm going to leave it as that. I've got the Torrid. I've got the Epitaph. Not that this really matters all that much. I guess I could still use it as a primer. Glaive Prime, I'm going to swap off to the, is it the Furax? Was that the name of it? Furax? Somebody else mentioned that in my comments. Hey, with Mesa, try equipping the Furax and put its augment mod on, which I've had this whole time and didn't even know. It was nothing I was looking for. But this should be quite nice. Fire rate on secondaries. I mean, that's a huge perk, and I'm not meleeing with her anyway, so I don't really even need to throw anything else on there. So that's what I've got, so I'll shoot even faster. And then I have made quite a bit of adjustments to the regulators from the last time we saw them. I've got a maxed galvanized diffusion, Target Cracker, maxed Hollow Point. Yeah, sacrifice a little bit of damage, but the crit damage multiplier is way up with that on there. Creeping Bullseye, yeah, the fire rate's a little lower, but way higher crit chance, and I offset that fire rate drop by bumping it like crazy with some other mods. I wanted status chance. Yes, I could still get it a little higher. I had Karna's Stinger on before, but I mean, we're talking just a handful of percent. She's firing so quickly. As it stands, there's a 1 in 4 chance, you know, that A status is going to proc with heat getting the priority. I think this is going to work okay. We'll find out when we get in to test it. Gunslinger for fire rate, pressurized magazine for fire rate. Granted, it's when aiming for 9 seconds, so I wasn't entirely certain if I wanted to keep that one on. Yeah, it will bump the fire rate. Of course, it doesn't impact the numbers until that procs. And I got Scorch for the heat plus status chance. So there were a few others I was contemplating. I could throw Anemic Agility, just get flat fire rate on there with sacrificing a little bit of damage. Or I could go back in and find another separate mod that would throw in some additional status chance, like Stunning Speed. Okay, reload speed doesn't really apply to regulators, but it would immediately bump status, I think, to like 30 something, 28. Yeah, see, her base status chance is so not that high that even with getting a pretty healthy bump there, like let me grab Karna's Stinger, there's another 60, it'll go to like 31, 32. Yeah, 31%. So 6%, I mean, you could make an argument that that's okay, and it does bump slash up, but heat still does take priority. So if we were to look at the status, just hover over, now I've got a 1 in 10 chance, I guess, out of that list, in the 1 in 3, give or take, that it'll proc, that heat will proc. So I don't know, maybe I need to grab a few other things in here. I did take off Seeker, I had that on prior. I did take that off to make room for more fire rate base mods. And I'm still playing around with whether or not I want to try to grab just any other random mod that would add some additional status chance. Stunning Speed I could do. This does even greater, so if I'm going to use one or the other, I think that makes the most sense. Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff that I could do, or I could just forget Karna's Stinger, forget that, throw in Galvanized Shot, which I did bump up a little over halfway, which this is the one that I was thinking probably would make the most sense. But then it's either going to be that or Sure Shot is the problem. So I could bump this all the way up. It probably would be close to equivalent of the status chance that Sure Shot gives me at 90. But then it also has this side perk, you know, direct damage for each status type affecting the target, and that can stack 3 times. So that's a nice little extra bonus in the background. But there's a lot of ways I could go about doing this. So that's kind of where we are. It's just me trying to make the decision on whether or not I want to stick Karna's Stinger in there. If I want to take Sure Shot out, just make the investment now, get Galvanized. In fact, let's just see what Galvanized goes up to. Sure Shot gives you 90. Let's check out Galvanized if I were to move it up a bit. Is it Galvanized? I'm looking for pistol. Galvanized Shot. What happens if I were to bump this all the way up? So it would be slightly less status chance, but it does give a little additional direct damage, you know, that can stack. So that's not a bad perk. I think I'm going to leave that off, and I'm going to flip-flop this back over to Karna's Stinger just to get a little additional, where is it? A little additional status chance on top. I know it's not a lot. It's just 6%. But being that her status chance on these is so low, I think it's probably going to help. Every little thing that I can put on there that's going to give a little additional status chance. But it was, you know, a balance thing. Status chance in tandem with crit damage multiplier plus crit chance plus fire rate. That was kind of the balance I was thinking on regulators. So for my purposes, I think it looks okay. I'm not saying it's great. It's going to be a test. I haven't tested it yet. But next thing is we need to go down to the helmet. I have not made my decisions on the Archon shards. I think for my purposes, I should have enough Stella. I do. I'm going to do an Ascent Fusion on Topaz, and I'm going to start by getting a solitary Topaz Tau Forged in there. And I did already read what the difference between a standard and this. Basically, you get that extra 50% bump on the Tau Forged variant. I think that stays true across all of them. So, crit chance by 1 every time you kill an enemy affected by heat status. So, the goal was to have heat to keep bumping the crit. The crit chance is already pretty good, and it just needs to be affected by heat status. Doesn't say that they have to be eliminated. They just have to be affected. And then there's another one that I was considering as I was reading through. If you look at a Tau Forged Crimson, I also have the ability to outright add plus 37.5 secondary crit chance. So I could almost guarantee that this thing is going to be critting constantly if I were to do that. I wasn't sure if I wanted to slot one of those in at the start or if I just want to start slowly test this. Obviously, I'll need to make some more of these Topaz. Just in general, I don't have the Stella. It would take 50 to fuse those two together to make another one. But yeah, that's all I'm trying to figure out. So we're just going to leave this just that solitary Topaz shard. And we may come back and add a Tau Forged Crimson, but I just want to see what's going to happen. So I'm going to test this first. Maybe solo, not in Steel Path to start, but possibly... Oh, you know what else I should do? I've got the Vulpaphyla, which can get me free Viral in the background to stack damage. I wonder if it would make more sense to swap to a different companion that I could maybe focus that they would have a high chance to proc heat. I don't know which one. You know what? I'm just going to leave Viral because Viral works well with other stuff just for damage multiplying. So, yeah. Let me make sure I'm on solo. I think I am. Nope. I was grinding for Vetus Essence with a group. Last thing I did. So, I think I'm going to go to say... You know, Zariman's not a bad place. I guess that's about as good as any. Yeah, I'll just go to Zariman. I'll go pick a solo Zariman bounty. Exterminate is fine because there's going to be plenty of enemies in there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop in on the Exterminate. We'll get in here. And then we're going to test out Mesa.
Welcome to Halako Perimeter. The place for questions is the classroom.
First things first.
These Corpus ain't here to trade. They're looking to steal from us. Give them hell.
I'm going to get a few more energy orbs first.
Don't slow down now. Body count can go way high.
Okay, so let's go find a decent group. Oh boy, that's hitting way harder already. Way harder. Yeah. I want to see these heat procs in the midst. Okay, so we'll go push back up to another group. Yeah, I am definitely seeing heat proccing. Yep, I went down. I was just getting ready to cast my 3 as well. Oh, good. So yeah, I'm still contemplating for my build for Mesa Prime, dumping her 1 for Pillage. That's the ability I'm thinking that I would like to have the most, is Hildryn's Pillage, just for survivability. Yeah. Guys, I'm really liking how this feels. That's effective. Steel Path is probably going to be another story altogether. Melt him real quick. Corpus beam weapons are problematic because I don't think her 3 blocks it. Let's test it. Oh, it does! Oh! I thought it had to be bullets. Bullet deflection. I didn't think it would work on beam weapons. I guess I should have tested that at some point. Either way, I've kind of gotten a sense of how well or not well it's going to work. So it seems like my thoughts on focusing heat to feed into crit was not a bad thought. So maybe it would also be worth just committing to one of those Talforged Crimson Shards to go ahead and throw the guaranteed crit chance that's not dependent on any elimination with the status active. I think it would be an investment worth making. So I guess the next question I need to ask myself is, what would I want to throw on? Because I basically never use her 1 ability, let's be real. It's fine. I'm sure it works in a very niche scenario. But for me, it's not something I need in this kit. So it's the toss-up. Do I want to put Pillage on that slot for survivability? Or do I want to put something else? Like, what would the difference be if I say threw on, let's just look at Roar as a baseline. Roar as a baseline. Increased strength. What does that actually do for the regulators in terms of her kit? It's an ability. So let's just hover over again. I think she's at a 2.4. Yeah, 2.4 damage multiplier. I have to assume that's related to strength. So what if I take Intensify off? 1.95. So indeed it is. It is directly related to strength, the multiplier. So it does make it hit harder. So getting an innate base damage buff is nice. So if I could get an even higher damage multiplier, then you add that we're focusing down on crit, she could actually be gunslinging pretty nasty. So you could probably argue that Pillage would not be the worst ability. However, or Roar. However, for my purposes, she suffers a little bit of the same issues as I experienced with Saren. And yeah, she's got a good kit and can hit pretty hard, but she is a bit squishy. Yes, there is her 3. to help mitigate that. But I still feel like, in fact, I wonder if pillage would function the same way off of Hildren. Would it still be 0 energy cost? You just rip shields for free? Or maybe it costs health instead? I have no idea. Let's scroll through the helmet and just see what it says. Let's look at abilities. I want to find... Let's rebuild shields. That's actually not horrible. Instantly. With the 12-second cooldown. I'm not sure how that would function on Mesa. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe it's a bad idea. It's not like I couldn't just change it, right? I think I could change it. You know what? Maybe Nullstar would be a better fit. Because if I'm using her 4, I'm playing at range anyway. So if I could stay out of the range that the antimatter particles would automatically go seeking enemies, that maybe wouldn't be bad. It's only 25 drain, and so long as the particles don't seek out enemies, and they all stay up, then I basically can just hold on to that damage reduction. I'm thinking Nullstar. Nullstar or Pillage. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I'm definitely curious to hear your input. Or maybe there's something else I should be considering that I don't have yet. But I'm pretty sure that you can at will, you know, take an ability on, off. In fact, you know what? Doesn't matter. Why don't I test it? It'll just cost some materials, right? I think I am going to test it with, say, Nullstar. Now, I guess I'll just do on configuration A, so I can leave BC at default, and maybe you can also subsume a different ability into a specific configuration on the same frame. I'm assuming it works that way, so maybe I could test my theories here, and it just costs me a few materials. But let's just put it on configuration A. I'll say confirm. We're going to go throw some Nullstar on Mesa on top. All right. So what I want to do now, I'm going to jump right back into the exact same thing I just did. I'm just going to go solo into Zariman. That we already had as a baseline test platform. So I'm going to head back over here. I'll just say calm. We'll just do the same one again. Just to keep it consistent, I guess. It's no problem. So I'll hop back in. I'm actually rather excited to test this Nullstar. I'm curious to see how well I think this fits with my ultimate goal here. So before I jump in, I'll cut. I'm just going to get some base energy up first. They're looking to steal.
Close one.
Okay, so it doesn't look like I can get more than 3 Nullstars, which makes sense because that's you can't use the augment, you know, to get more. That's unique to Nova, so maybe this isn't the right one. So I guess the next test would be my original thought. What do I think about Pillage? So I'll just keep playing around with these. It's no big deal. But I definitely like the damage output.
For the Tenno,
That was actually pretty darn quick. In my opinion. Of course, we can still cast the bullet deflection ability. Yeah, the Null Star drops a bit quickly here. So I'm feeling like Null Star is not it, which is okay. So blast a few more big old groups of enemies just for fun. Alright, let's just abort the mission. I'll go back to the orbiter. I'm not going to finish that in 6 minutes. I was just trying to test it. So Null Star, that's a no-go. We're going to take that off. I'm guessing there's a cost to take it back off and revert it back where it was, and then a cost to slot a new one in.
Literally, the bowels of the ship.
So if I go back to remove infusion. Yeah, okay, perfect. It costs nothing to take the infusion out. So let's consider pillage. It wants oxides, and that's the only thing it wants right now. So that's actually not that expensive to do it. Alright, so let's infuse that there. Confirm. Configuration A. Confirm. So we're just going to hop in and we're going to test it one more time, guys. This is maybe not the most exciting thing. I'm just trying to get a little bit additional survivability in there. So something is going to be better than nothing. I feel like I probably should have just gone with pillage, my initial thought to begin with, but I've never tested it. So we're going to go right back to the Chrysalith. Same thing. We're going to see how much more survivable she feels. If she is less squishy, then I might just pick a random Steel Path mission and see what the difference is. Okay, so that seemed to be better. And it does happen pretty quickly. Okay. Guess so. Sit and get 1306. I don't know. I'm kind of liking pillage. You know, it's not drastic, but it does make a noticeable difference. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think that is how I want to roll it, guys. I think I am going to leave Pillage on. I know, obviously, it's not a massive difference, but it's enough to keep her on her feet when you realize, oh gosh, she's going to drop. That doesn't matter because I'm not even going to play with that. So we're just going to leave again, guys, and then we're going to head into a little steel path to just, you know, see what difference this adjustment makes. I'm feeling pretty happy with it so far. Got to be honest. It was well worth putting in the time to grind. Took a few weeks because I knew I needed to be able to create enough topaz to make at least one Tal Forge, then have at least one normal one left over. I didn't want to suck them all up in case I totally hated it, but I like it. I like it. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Now, one thing I do want to read real quick. What is the extent that she can get with pillage? So, I guess there's a set max overshield that Mesa can get. I guess that's when it goes purple. Though normally I thought it was gray. I don't know. I'm not entirely certain. But I did see her shield go up basically 3 times the amount that she normally could. So I'm guessing that that's going to be considered overshield. I'm guessing that's what that is. So I can strip away enough to get overshield on myself. And maybe it's even greater with the bigger pile of enemies. So, moment of truth, guys. Let's we're going to do a little more testing. Let's pop into some steel path. What do I have left? Okay, yeah, I've already done Alara, but let's do it again anyway. We're going to go survival with Corpus Amalgam. So, this could be tough, but we're going to try it. Alright, we're going to push forward. That's good enough. Break the seal.
Life support has been cut off.
We'll start
They're trying
with
to
3.
choke you out. Hold on. I'm sending auxiliary life support.
Yeah, she moves so slowly in that. Maybe I should have started with overshield as they were running in at me. Then flip towards the group. Pillage. Ooh, she's still just getting absolutely murked here. It does take a second to pop up. We may be back to the drawing board again here, guys, but...
Life support on the way.
Okay, nullifier. Yep, I knew that was coming. Yeah. So getting caught in that is like the worst thing that you can have happen. Getting caught in her 4. The time to toggle on off. Her 3 still seems to be really important. Maybe I cast 3 first. Then pillage to try to get overshield. Then go into 4, but don't stay in it as long. I'm going to repeat. I'm going to test this one more time. Just to see. Also may just throw some additional, like a fast deflection or a shield capacity. Since I've got pillage, maybe shield capacity would make more sense. Then I could just lower her fire rate a little bit. I know the DPS would drop, but I'm just thinking practically out loud here. So I have a lot of testing and tweaks to do, but this is just phase 1, guys. I thought it would be fun to finally make these adjustments and just see what happens. So I know I've got a lot more field testing to do here, but I'm going to make one more adjustment to my order of operations in here, which is going to be starting with 3.
I'm sending life support capsules your way.
Then we'll pop 4, but then we'll get out of it. We don't want to get greedy. Okay, that worked a bit better.
Tenno, prepare for life support.
Yep, okay. So I stayed in there a little too long. I got a little greedy. That's okay. There's a reason I'm testing this, guys. Feels better than it did.
I've delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time.
Yep, I knew that was coming. Totally out of energy. So... Alright, let's just see what we can get done with the Torrid. Get the room cleared. Alright, that gives us a little room to breathe.
Life support on the way.
Get out of here, nullifier. Yep, saw that coming. I got greedy again. Alright, so I definitely feel like this could potentially work. It's got some potential.
I've delivered another
The
life
issue
support
is that I don't have a big enough shield pool for my liking. So I'm going to abort here. Oh gosh, I've already been recording almost an hour. I'm going to have to cut some stuff out of this. I don't want this video to be obscenely long. I'll probably cut some of the stuff in the beginning before I actually jumped in to start testing. Okay, so let's go back to Mesa's setup itself. Efficiency, duration, shield capacity, ability efficiency. Fast deflection. Where is my maxed fast deflection? I should have one. I presume that I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, I guess I'll try this. I'm going to jump back in and see if that makes any difference whatsoever. And then we're gonna... Let's go back to Alara. Yeah, survival is going to be... If she can get through survival, this is obviously the toughest test for her since survivability is her main issue. Damage output? Nah, she's feeling so much better than she was before. Clearly hitting significantly harder. So I definitely feel like I'm on the right path. It's just getting past the survivability hurdle. Alright, I think that's enough to go in to just test and see if this modification makes it a little bit more reasonable.
Life support has been cut off. They're trying to choke you out. Hold on. I'm sending auxiliary life support.
Still getting blasted. Of course, the Corpus nullifiers are not doing me any favors here either. Yeah, she's still... I mean, it's better than it was.
Life support on the way. Delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time.
Yeah, even with the delay lower, it's still just the level of squish is so much. So yeah, we're gonna have to keep playing around with this, guys. That's clearly not it. I'm not sure. Maybe there's some other ability I could subsume into Mesa that would help me bypass that biggest survivability hurdle. If there's something better than Pillage, I don't know what it is. I hate to just take a mod like, oh, take as many spaces as I can and just throw a boatload of shield or armor or something in there. That feels like a total waste on her setup for what it is I'm trying to accomplish. Efficiency is important because that will burn through energy, you know, as long as you're in there. Maybe I could sacrifice just a little bit of strength, hit a little bit less hard, and maybe that's the trade-off. I don't really know. What did I have in there before fast deflection? It was stretch, which I feel like is definitely important on her. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Gosh, I just don't know. I don't know how to do. I don't know exactly how I want to do this, guys. We're going to keep playing with it. Maybe as I keep getting more shards in and increasing her strength, it's going to just work even better to where the enemies are taken down quicker. And I'm pretty sure you can unslot these at will as well. So I think what I might do is throw in a Talforged Red in one slot, make a secondary crit, say embed. And then what happens if I wanted to take that out? Yeah, take it out, and it's a little... So, yeah, taking them in and out is really not that big of a deal. And I also realized that I put the wrong shard in. I put a regular one and not a Tau Forged in. So this whole time I've been running not what I was intending to do. That's okay. I can still leave that one in there. I'll probably just take it out when I eventually get another Topaz. But I know that I'm going to be focusing Topaz, so let's go ahead and embed that. Yes. So between those two, we're at 2.5 and 125. Plus another 37.5. So 160, 170, give or take. We're nearly crossing over the 200 barrier. Of course, with the Topaz, it does take a little bit of wind up. I'm going to pop in one more time, guys. This is the final thing I'm going to do today. While I'm waiting on more Tau Forge that I need to see this. So I'm not even going to go super duper long. I just want to see what damage output difference those the additional Topaz, the Tau Forge, like I intended to put in the beginning, and also adding the Crimson Tau Forge, if this makes a meaningful damage output difference, which I suspect that it will. So I just want to get a little bit of energy in here that I can test her for. I'm not even going to worry about the survivability aspect. I just want to see what happens with the damage.
Auxiliary life support.
Come at me, bruh. Well, the damage numbers definitely look better. No question. Okay, so it's moving in the right direction. It's moving in the right direction. Of course, it's, you know, building up the eliminations while they have a heat status on them. I still feel like maybe swapping my companion would be a smart idea. I know Viral obviously gives you just additional damage buffs if the Vulpaphyla were to proc it for free without me having to add any in there, but maybe it would make more sense to get a companion that could proc heat. I don't think I can set the Vulpaphyla up to do both. It does intrinsic with the mod. It does intrinsic Viral. So is there a way to get... None of the other mods for it have anything to do with, like, cold and toxin, so it would have to come from some other means. If I had a cold... Oh! If I took that off, it would turn into Viral. But I've already got Viral on the quill, so I've got Toxin plus Viral. What I need is a claw or teeth or something that does heat, and then I could just pull, but that would obviously be a very specific mod setup just for at least Mesa. Obviously, if we're thinking about other frames, Najah, Ember, where these Topaz shards would also be amazing, I suspect. But nonetheless, guys, we're not going to dig too deep. I know that I've got to do some more testing. I know I've got to do some more tweaking. I may even play around with Thermal Sunder as the infused ability. We'll see. But I just wanted to test. There's no question Mesa is moving in the right direction damage output-wise. I still just have to figure out what the answer is to her survivability. If it's somehow her damage just gets up so ridiculous that she clears rooms so quickly it doesn't matter, then problem solved. But I feel like she needs something in there to help with her just overall relative squish factor. So I'm not going to mess around with this too much. I'm going to do some background testing. We're going to keep getting more shards and making her Helminth Archon shard setup side of the equation stronger. But we'll keep playing around with what ability makes the most sense for infused, you know, maybe I just need to subsume some more frames. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But either way, guys, I'm happy with the progress that I'm making here. She's definitely moving in the right direction. It's just not there yet. But it was really, really fun to finally get in and test it. And hopefully it was at least quasi-enjoyable for you to see kind of my thought process behind the decisions I made in the setup, and then actually seeing the real-world testing of it, both in and out of Steel Path difficulty. Steel Path is still a challenge, yes, no question. But if I can get her just a bit stronger, I feel like it will be progressively less and less of an issue, at least in the base Steel Path. But at any rate, guys, so I've got some testing to do in the background. Definitely let me know what your thoughts on, based on what it is I'm trying to get out of this. Let me know your suggestions, thoughts. Maybe there's just some mods that don't make sense. I put on some obvious ones to swap that I'm not thinking about. And certainly in terms of the Archon shards for what it is I'm trying to do, as well as any other abilities I should consider for Subsume to help with survivability, or just to outright push her damage numbers over the top that survivability is less of an issue. So I'm open to any and all suggestions. I'm happy to try out some and show you what it looks like in an upcoming video. But guys, that is going to do it for today. As always, I do sincerely appreciate you checking in, and we will catch you on the next one.